Hey everybody, it's Joric. Welcome back. Hope you're doing well wherever you are in the world. This is part 2 of all the reasons this gentleman had mentioned not moving to Portugal. It was supposed to just be one long video, but the last video, it's interesting that I went to bed, already had the video in the queue for part 1 and talking about these 200 reasons, and then woke up in the morning to a message from YouTube. Usually, from what I'm told and talking to other content creators, if there's an issue with YouTube, they just pull the video or restricts some things. But in this particular case, the video part 1, the full video, it got chopped about 2/3 of the way through. So you could see up to a certain point, of which I'm going to finish out. But based upon some conversations with YouTube, I'm going to be a little different. I'm going to use a different approach, and hopefully this video stays up and you can find out again from what this gentleman, his thoughts were 4 years in, some issues that he had with Portugal. And again, if you feel like these things resonate, or if you feel like they don't, if you feel like they're off base, please comment below one way or the other. So let me get back after it. 140 to 150, civic identity and deep structural issues. So there's a lot of nationalism going on in Portugal, and that's bore out in the last couple of elections based upon Chega gaining a lot of popularity. Whether people are on board with that or not, they're getting more votes, that's for sure. So I'm not sure what, we'll see what the future holds for sure. But it's, I think what's interesting here out of these 10 things that he mentions is the corruption. It's almost like normalized. It's, and almost this exact same, it's just how things are. Gosh, I've heard that from so many of our neighbors and people that we lived around, and some of the local shop owners. It was just sort of, it's life. It's how things are. You just, you work through it, you work around it. It's just a part of daily life. I don't know what your thoughts are, if you've been exposed to any of it or have had to deal with any of it, but I'm kind of curious to see what your thoughts are regarding these topics. 151 to 160, housing, building, and maintenance issues. So things that you're going to deal with in Portugal is mold. If not in your flat, maybe in the building, which then could cause issues for you respiratory-wise and whatnot. Building materials, I don't know that necessarily they're up to code or not up to code, but sometimes the quality is lacking. I've looked at over 500, almost 500 flats in our time there, and it was absolutely sometimes very disappointing to see the type of construction materials that were being used. But the thing that I want to talk about is the tradespeople. Often things go years without being finished, and that's because the best and the brightest skilled tradespeople from Portugal are working in France, Belgium, and Luxembourg because they can make more money and then probably send it home to their families in Portugal. But it's not worth it for them to stay in Portugal. They can go someplace else. So often Portugal, and I can speak to this from several projects that started in our neighborhood, some finished, most didn't, that were mostly African workers that were coming in and helping. And some days you hear 2 or 3 weeks, you hear them working on a building, and then for 3 or 4 months, nothing going on. And then for 2 or 3 weeks, they're working. And for example, and I don't know if you've experienced this, but we had a number of properties in our particular area, the Lapa Strela area of Lisbon, that the project started in 2017, 18, 19. We left in 2024, projects still weren't done. And when I'm meaning renovating in a building, an apartment building full of flats, those are, some of them, I think about 30% of them got started and finished in the time we were there. Many just were left abandoned, meaning they were at some point of repair, or they demoed everything except the exterior walls, and nothing's happened for several years. And who knows what's going to happen there. So, and if you're trying to renovate things, getting things starting on time and ending on time is almost impossible, I would say, for sure. Next up, 161 to 170, professional and legal systems. So I've often told people that if they are going to move to Portugal, it would make sense to get an attorney, an immigration attorney, because it really helped us. And I will say, this person, 25 years doing it, Portuguese, she knows the system. She has the same frustrations with the system that immigrants do. So that means she knew who to go to kind of take care of things, which was really good. But I've talked to so many people that have said, yeah, you telling us to get an attorney was a waste of time. We've spent thousands and they didn't do anything for us. Or we spent thousands and he ghosted us. So that's something that I think is a problem. It's a viable issue. Accountants, it's interesting, the accountants in Portugal, when we've got like tax returns or we've had questions, what they charge for services is very American-esque for pricing. And so what's interesting is there's certainly some aspects of the Portuguese culture that's very capitalistic in mind. They don't mind gouging people left and right wherever they can in certain areas. Also, the legal system. If you're going to sue someone, don't waste your time. Even if they're 100% at fault, it will take years if it ever gets resolved in the Portuguese legal system. And that comes from Portuguese who have stated, they had a claim or they had an issue, and 6, 7, 9 years later, something might have been resolved or not resolved at all. So if you think that the legal system is going to be helpful to you in Portugal, it's not. It isn't helpful, I don't think, to anybody, locals or immigrants alike. Next up, 171 to 180, cultural contradictions. This is interesting because change is something that's inevitable for all of us and all countries and municipalities. This is, again, this person's experience about, locals often complain about stuff, but rarely do they do anything or act about it or take accountability for how things are. It's always immigrants' fault. It's always someone else's fault. It's never the Portuguese fault for anything that's ever happened. So this is the one critique that I do agree with wholeheartedly. This is not just Portugal. This is in the U.S. If you don't like it, leave. Well, it's not that simple to just get up and leave. There takes a long time to get into a country. It takes a long time to exit a country as well. And so if you don't agree with everything, you're supposed to leave. That's the option. So you cannot disagree. You cannot dissent. That to me tells me that you're not really living in a democratic place. You should be able to dissent or have disagreements about how the government's run. Everyone should. Is there anyone that should be talking about how great immigration's going? No, I believe everyone should be saying how disappointed they are at the immigration system. So nobody likes it. But does that mean everyone should leave? I don't think so. Maybe somebody should stick around to fix it. That would be nice. And then the last 20 here, service, healthcare, care culture, and then the society and the outlook, the future of Portugal. I've talked about the healthcare system. I think it's good. It's affordable. That's the word that I come back to. I don't think it's great. It gets touted as exceptional. I don't have anybody that can give me metrics that can tell me that. It's a very subjective statement. Even when I say it has good health care, if someone says prove it, I don't have anything to prove it. I'll go the other way. If someone says it's terrible health care, I don't have any way to prove it because there isn't any metrics that can tell you successful surgeries versus botched surgeries, etc. But it does seem like there's a lot of wait time to get in for things. There are people that have left comments in prior videos that said their experience with the healthcare system where they had to wait hours for an emergency and sit, lay on a gurney waiting for the doctor to be available and be ready for them to go in because they had to wait because there were other surgeries. So a little disenchanted with that, but what are your feelings about that? And then lastly, the outlook. What's interesting is I related to this a little bit in part 1 of the video is the cup half empty mentality of, is tomorrow going to be a better day? And I think rarely will you have someone say, yeah, tomorrow's going to be a better day. It's what a great place, what a great life. It's sort of this melancholy, brooding, maybe it's going to be good, maybe it's not, not positive. The optimism is something that he's mentioning here, and that I really can relate to, and it resonates with me, is the lack of optimism, and the future is much brighter versus the future is just as dark as today type of thing. I just don't understand that. But that's the culture, and that's not for me to understand. That's for me, if you want to live there, you're going to have to figure out how to live and kind of be a part of that. And learn to live with that. So 2 videos meant to be one. Thank you to YouTube for making things 2 different videos. Trying to tiptoe and be diplomatic on part 2, so this one doesn't get abridged somehow. But what are your thoughts? Please comment below. If you agree, you disagree, you don't like anything I said, you agree with something, please note, again, these are not my thoughts. I'm merely relaying what someone else's experience has been, which some of this stuff I truly agree with wholeheartedly, and I think you do too, as well as there may be some things that you don't agree with. But please note that and comment below if you feel comfortable doing so. Would love to get some discussion about it. As always, thank you so much for watching, and enjoy your travels.